Hey, how's it going? Jeffrey here with another episode of Auto Alchemy. And this episode is going to be part of my objective personality typing series. Today I'll be typing Cesar Millan. And if you don't know much about Caesar, all I can say is that he's probably pretty close to my friend Barclay Gyllenhaal because Caesar is known as the dog whisperer. I'm going to breeze through this one, so you'll have to forgive me if I sound like I'm spewing nonsense. As always with this video series, you'll see the objective personality grid at the bottom of the screen, and it's going to update as I walk through my reasoning, and I'm just going to be giving you the superficial, sort of abbreviated version of my thinking in this process. So what jumps out at me right away is that Caesar is not Blast last. Blast is the animal associated with getting started, with expelling information, teaching, and so much of his life is centered around teaching people how to effectively interact with their dogs. And he's very comfortable in interview settings and has no problems sharing that information. And then on the topic of getting started, so much of his life is centered around working hard. He came into this country not having anything, and then he has slowly built a life for himself. And he's always engaging in new projects, new educational affairs, new books that he's been working on. So I think it's safe to say that he's not Blast last. The second thing that was apparent to me is that he is not missing play. There's a little bit of that showmanship, a little flair whenever he's talking to people, especially when he's giving a presentation. You know, he'll act out the behavior of dogs and he'll bark and yip and shake his butt, and he's just a playful guy. It's obvious that he's a pretty fun person to be around. What caught my eye next is that he seems to be a double decider, so he's relatively balanced between himself and other people, thinking and feeling. Interviewers often ask him about the drama of his divorce, and he kind of takes it in stride. He doesn't seem to have a lot of negative energy. He doesn't want to lash out at his ex-wife. And as far as being balanced between thinking and feeling, you know, he's got this unadulterated love of dogs on one hand, and then the ability to persuade other people that this is how we should properly deal with dogs. And then finally, there's a little bit of anecdotal support here. A lot of double deciders like to do voices, like they like to weave in and out of like self, other character, you know, and that's something that I've noticed him doing a lot in his interviews. Next up, it seems pretty clear to me that he's on the FI and TE axis as opposed to the TI and FE axis. And I'm also noticing, just as a meta reflection on my process here, that it's helpful for me to look for the axis without focusing on which one is a savior, which one is a demon, because people are vulnerable to the peacocking and getting distracted by that. And once again, I want to go back to this idea that he has a pure, unadulterated love of dogs. He doesn't need reasons for why he loves dogs. He just does. The reasoning comes in with other people and convincing them and sharing information with the world. And so his emphasis on that side is with the whole spectrum of reasoning. And then I'm pretty sure that the perceiving axis is SE and NI. He does talk a lot about knowledge, but knowledge for him seems to be a convergent thing as opposed to an expansive, explosive, any kind of thing. Like whenever he does talk about these concepts, he always comes back to the same ones. Like the principles for dealing with dogs are rules, boundaries, limitations. He loves saying that, and I don't blame him. What? And then naturally you can see a lot of SE in that he has to be grounded in his body in a moment in order to react to these animals in real time and be like attentive to the pack dynamics. I'm also seeing Blast overconsume. It seems like he already has the information figured out, and life for him is more about sharing it. I don't know that he's adding a lot of new information or new concepts to his arsenal. And at the same time, I'm getting the impression that he's still gather over organized. So it could only be that he's a play lead, because play is sort of gathering in things for the sake of other people, for the sake of the quote-unquote tribe. And that does seem to check out, but I do want to pump the brakes here and ask myself a few questions. Because if we jump to the play lead, then we eliminate in from the board. So is he intuitive? The thing is, he talks a lot about following instinct over following intellect, and he has this kind of embodied way of existing. And it's clear, as far as I can tell, that the the NI concepts are subservient to the physical experiences. He's had a set of physical experiences, and then he has distilled those down into these neat little intuitive packages. The final question here is he missing consume or missing sleep? Another way of thinking about this is he info dominant or energy dominant? And I honestly can't tell. It's so hard because he's obviously sharing information, but the information that he's sharing is actually about this energetic exchange between him and the dogs that he's working with. So maybe a better way of looking at this is to keep in mind that the missing animal will automatically highlight the opposite side of the coin. So if he's missing sleep, he seems more playful. If he's missing consume, he'll seem more blastful. And although my whole body is rebelling against this idea because I want to see him as being info dominant, I think that he's more of a blaster overall. So that leaves us with MF, SETE, play blast, sleep, consume. Who would have thunk it? Which makes him a sort of weird ESFP. And I saw that some people on the internet think that he's an ENTJ. And you can kind of see how that might happen if you're picking up on that strong TE and SE. Anyway, that's all that I've really got for you. So thank you so much for tuning in. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please like it. If you're not subscribed, I would greatly appreciate it if you were, and then do something with that bell icon. I don't know, tickle it, and then see what happens. I'm out of here. I'm done with this. Bye.